I am back. Have you missed me? Of course you haven't missed me. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. Hope you are all well. I spoke with Mike on the Friday, last Friday, and we both said we'd hope to sit here the following week with some signings here. And lo and behold, we have not. We've still not signed anybody. We're going to be talking about the pre-season friendly that's just occurred over in France, about our transfer activity or lack of it, and much more. So I've gone to Norway and back. I've eaten about a month's worth of food in 7 days, and West Ham has still not signed a player, with bids reportedly going in, lowball bids of around £20 million for both Harry Maguire and James Ward-Prowse, with Tim Steiden's sort of offerings and advice seemingly being denied and ushered away by the gaffer David Moyes. That is all what we're going to talk about on tonight's show. I'm delighted to say I am joined by Nigel. Nigel, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's see who we have got in the chat. Mr. Terry Newsham, I hope you are well. Good cruising. It was very good. It was very good. Diet starting tomorrow. You can answer that question because that doesn't affect me. But no signings yet. Pathetic, really. Yeah, we'll start with the signings, then we'll come on to the pre-season friendly that's just happened over in France. Nigel, we are 14 days away from the season kicking off down on the south coast. Hopefully a bit of sun at the Vitality Stadium. And our midfield is looking sorry for itself at the moment. Are you worried? Are you concerned?
Yeah, a little bit, but not overly. I think if we can get a couple of signings in who are half decent midfielders, I actually think we'd do all right. But but it's always lastminute.com in it with West Ham. And those offers, 17 million for James Ward-Prowse. He must be thinking, what? I'm worth a bit more than that. Yeah. I'm worth 15 goals a season just from set pieces. It's always the same, Jake. It's always the same with us with signings. And it seems behind the scenes, there seems to always be a lot going on. A lot of people, like they said, that you've got Sullivan involved, you've got Steinen, you've got Moyes, you've got Noble, all arguing behind the scenes about who they're going to sign. It's ridiculous, really. You don't see other teams, you don't hear about anything like that from other teams, do you? So it's a joke.
It just once again, and you're right. This happens every summer. We sit here and go, right, let's get into business early. Let's get the money together and let's get going with it. And to be fair, last summer we did sign the players. Well, we did sign quite a decent amount quantity wise of players, and we're now sat here. The Declan Rice deal was done a long time ago. It was done ages ago. The money's in. However much we've got, there must be something else there. And you've hit the nail on the head. Is that we've heard from reports as well. You've named all of them. You've got Sullivan having his 2 pence worth. Of course he is. You've got Steiden who's coming in and going, hang on. Well, I've been bought here, putting a couple of players on the table. You've got Moyes, who is a big factor in it. You've got Noble that's probably, thinking I'm going to have a little go at this as well. You've got 4 big people there that have probably all got different perceptions. Sullivan would want to sign different players to Moyes. Steiden definitely wants to sign different players to what Moyes wants to sign. And we just seem like we're locking horns and nobody's agreeing on anything. And then we put bids in for James Ward-Prowse for 17 million quid. That's never going to be accepted. Is it just we tried? Well, it's just, again, you see Villa have gone out. They've bought players. We're just dilly-dallying around as always.
Nothing's going to change, Jake, unless we get some new blood in. It's just going to be the same as last season, exactly the same. We'll probably be struggling. You do need new players. Every season, every team goes out and they make some sort of effort to get new players. I was really disappointed that we didn't just try and buy Harvey Barnes, because I've always admired him and thought he's a great player. And I was a bit gutted when he went to Newcastle. But who can blame him, when he looks at it's a joke of a club that we become sometimes, when it comes to transfers. It is ridiculous.
And we've had the report from X that came out yesterday as well, that we've been sort of lining up and planning a deal and preparing a deal for Harvey Barnes since April. And then in the end, and something else happened, and we got distracted and we ran out of time in the end. We ain't got toddlers sorting this out. for goodness sake, if we were working on a deal since April, how on earth didn't we get even remotely close to getting a deal over the line or putting a decent bid in that was going to be, because as far as we're aware, I don't even think we put a bid in. We've been working on a player to try and get him signed since April. We didn't even put a bid in, and now he's gone. I mean, it's just...
Yeah. Yes, I mean, I think the kid from City is meant to be a really, really good, a good player.
Yeah.
It's been nice to see him sign, but we'll probably end up our only signing. The thing is, what you have to remember also is that, we had that 105 million for Rice, and then straight away, other teams are looking and think, oh, they got some money.
Yeah.
And like that Paulinho from Fulham, I mean, 80 million. He ain't worth 80 million quid. Come on, what a joke. I mean, teams are just looking and think, oh, they're a bit of a cash cow at the moment. Let's try and rinse them for a few quid. So I do see that, they do have to be careful where the money's going. But I mean, 17 million for James. I couldn't believe that when I heard that yesterday. 17 million quid. That's ridiculous. He's so much better than that.
I mean, what's going on here? Because we've got, and to be fair, it's an interesting discussion because yes, I think to an extent we've supported and we probably helped inflate the market this summer, but I don't mind that because the issue teams have had in the past is, apart from the big six, if they've got a good player, a big six would come in and swoop them for next to nothing, but clubs like us and clubs like Villa in the last couple of years with Grealish have stood up and went, no, actually we ain't going to let you have him for 30 million quid, and we've stood up to the big boys. But then as a result of that, we've then seen a negative impact because Fulham went, oh, Giroud says we're going to have a bit of that as well, and went, right, we're going to go, I don't know, they sat there and went, let's put 80 million on Paulinho. And all of a sudden we've made our situation and our lives incredibly difficult for ourselves because we haven't moved quickly, we haven't moved efficiently, and between the 2 weeks ago or however long it was since we sold Rice, as far as I'm aware, we're no closer to signing a player.
It's almost like we was waiting for the money before we bought him. Well, you can't tell me West Ham ain't got 30 million quid to buy Barnes. They could have just bought him and knowing full well that Rice is going to go. They could have bought him and the deal could have been done. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, to be fair, I think we had it off selling him for 105 mil because I'm one of the. I think last season, I don't think Declan was as good as he was the previous season.
No, he wasn't.
I think he was a bit ordinary last season. I think the fella out for Fiorentina. I mean, that Amrabat, is it Amrabat? Amrabat, yeah, him. I thought he was the best player on the pitch when we played them in the final. And I think he roasted Rice. So 105 million quid. We should have been done for players like him because
definitely. I've seen Manchester United have been linked with him, and I said straight away he looked very composed and very solid in the final when he did it in the World Club as well. He's international teammates with Noah Fagerd, who he would be sitting just in front of as well. And I mean, the issues and sort of problems don't just stop at the transfers. I mean, I can run through them. We've currently got as a backroom staff team, we've got a manager, a coach and a goalkeeper coach. I don't think there's a lot more than that currently. We've got the goalkeeper coach, Moyes and Nolan. I don't know what's going on there. We've got barely a backroom staff. We haven't appointed a new club captain since our captain left. So Moyes is just chucking the armband around in these pre-season games. You can have it for this game, you can have it for that game. So that's still not resolved. And we're a club at the moment that looks a little bit all over the place. And we're 2 weeks away from the start of the season. And if I see Souček and Downs as a midfield pivot too at Bournemouth away, somebody's put it up in the chat here. I read it earlier. It's your boy Dan said need a midfielder before Bournemouth. Souček and Downs and holding midfield will be hell on earth. We cannot go into a Premier League season with those two as our starting midfield too. I'm sorry, we just can't.
Yeah, much as I like Downs, he's not a Premier League player, mate. He's not. No. He's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, gets stuck in, boom, and then he just goes missing. Yeah. He goes missing. He's not that all action midfielder that we need. We need someone who's got legs. Do you know what I mean? Someone's going to get. Because I'll tell you what, Paqueta, he's got legs, mate. If you watch him, he's not just a clever footballer who can pick a pass. He's a battler. You watch him when he's running back. You had 2 or 3 of him in the team. That's what you need.
And I think the frustration from the fans as well is that, many people have mentioned today how good Paqueta was before Moyes took him off in the pre-season friendly, is that there's growing frustrations in the fan base because if we sign the right couple of midfielders, we could have a dominant force in midfield because we've got Paqueta there, who is a very, very good player. There's no doubting that. Paqueta is a well-rounded, and we saw it towards the back end of last season. He is, at the moment, he's a cut above anything we've currently got in our side, in my personal opinion. We've got the potential there. We've got the potential there to sign a couple other quality midfielders and make a midfield that will be hard to break down. But currently, we've got Paqueta and whoever else we can find at the moment, and that's not what you want to be doing going into a Premier League season with Europe as well, Nigel.
You've got £100 million spent. Well, you haven't. Let's say you've got half that money. You could get a decent midfielder with that money. You could. They're out there, and you could.
Yeah.
What we also need is a forward, mate. I mean, Danny Ings. Oh, he's. Do you know what? It's frightening. Fellas on like 120 odd grand a week,
I know.
And he's not got a touch. He looked dreadful today. And you've got Mbeumo, who's still a kid, still learning. Well, we go on about the pre-season friendly in a minute, who was there and who weren't, but we are. It's getting a bit thin on the ground. I mean, you let Lanzini go. We still, to be fair, he's still a decent footballer.
Yeah,
you could have got another year out of it. Do you know what? I'd bring back Mark Noble and put him in over bloody Flynn Downs. That's not. I'm not joking either, because at least do you know what I mean? He'd battle and make something happen. Downs seems like out of his depth in the Premier League. And he seemed out of his depth today.
And just to pick up on Lanzini, people will quickly forget Lanzini played a really big part in the European campaign last season. And I know it was Conference League, and I know it's going to be more challenging next season back up into the Europa League. But Lanzini, I think, played every single group game last year, and he held that midfield together relatively well. So we've taken Lanzini out. We've taken Rice out. All of a sudden now we're left with Paqueta, who's going to play a more advanced role. Souček, who was playing a more advanced role. And we've got nobody. We've got nobody apart from Flynn Downs, who, again, as you've just pointed out, there's question marks over it. I'm going to take some of the comments, then we'll move on to the pre-season friendly and give our thoughts on that one. Terry says we knew we would be getting some coin from Declan, so why weren't things being set up earlier rather than last minute? .com. Exactly. It feels like we're sort of doing it a day at a time. Like we're not thinking in the future. Like we're sort of taking every day as it comes, quite pedestrianly, and just sort of going, all right, that's not happened. Right, we've got some money now. Should we start thinking about some players? We should have had players lined up as soon as Rice signed for Arsenal. A decent club would have had players signed up, bam, 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 signed and done the next week. That's just what good football clubs do, and we're dilly-dallying around. And as I said, the worrying part of it is we're no closer to signing a player than what we were 2-3 weeks ago. We're no closer. We put in some silly bids of £17 million, which has aggravated the seller more than got us closer to the deal, I would expect, which is annoying the fan base not only, but annoying the club that we're trying to get a player off of, and their best player as well, Nigel, and James Ward-Prowse.
And do you know what? Why didn't we get Smith Rowe from Arsenal? Why wasn't that put in the deal? I mean, does he? He's not playing.
No.
You could have actually pressed it a bit harder, because he's decent, and I think he'd have fitted into our team really nicely. He's a good passer of the ball. He gets stuck in, and he's just rotting in Arsenal's reserves.
Yeah.
Good player. I don't. There was talk of it in being a part exchange fee. Why didn't it happen?
No, it's a good shout, because we should have pushed that more, because we haven't exactly, we don't look at all prepared with targets to put in decent bids. So we could have made our lives a lot easier by trying to and saying to Arsenal, we want a player in there, because it would have made our lives a lot easier by not having to go out and scout and do the jobs we should have been doing for months on the job that we currently seem we're doing now. And there's so many issues there. And another one is you've got Tim Steidten comes in, who we can all see a mile off has got a completely different philosophy, a completely different style of player that he'd like to sign compared to David Moyes. We've had reports that he's offered players to Moyes, and Moyes has just pushed them to the side and went, no, I'm not interested. So Steidten's ineffective at the moment because Moyes ain't listening to him. It's just coming from all ways. It's just not working. A recipe for disaster, Nigel.
All speculation, isn't it, mate? We don't actually know what goes on. We're just speculating to what goes on, but it does seem that way, doesn't it? That there's a bit of unrest behind the scenes.
But would that at all surprise you that somebody's appointed this Steiden bloke and he's offered Moyes a couple of players that he probably hasn't heard of, and he's went, no, I want to sign these players, and just ain't listening to him?
Yeah, of course. Moyes is stubborn, isn't he? He's been stubborn the whole time he's been with West Ham. I think it's just how it is there at the club. I mean, you've not got anyone. I mean, who'd want that job? Who'd want a job where you go in and you've got an eye for talent, and you go in and you go spotting it and you just take it in and they're like, no, you're right, mate. What's the point in actually having someone why are we paying someone to do that? Why don't one person just if Moyes is the manager? To me, I just think if Moyes is the manager, why should we don't make the decision on who he wants in the team? Whether it's good or bad, at least he's picking the players he wants.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's pointless. Because it's pointless bringing geezers in saying, "Oh yeah, we should sign this player." Moyes go, "No, I'm not interested." What's the point? We just as well get rid of him now if that's the case.
Exactly. If Moyes is only going to have who he wants in the team. Yeah. Like Sullivan, when he's butting in, I mean, Moyes might say something. Oh, Sullivan, oh no, I ain't got the money. So it's what you need is a chairman and an owner who trust their manager to run the team. You don't need. Obviously, it's always going to end in disaster when you've got lots of Indians and not enough chiefs.
I think it's and the issue we've got there as well is that you've got different avenues coming together, and then Sullivan might go, "Oh no, well I want to sign this player," and sticking his beak into it as well. I don't know. I think at the moment we've made this current scenario and this current sort of transfer sort of team we've got there signing these players or not signing the players, we've made it more difficult by bringing more unnecessary people in that currently aren't making a difference in the way they should be. It's all well and good bringing this technical director, everyone got excited, but it's all well and good having this fancy bloke in, but if we ain't going to sign any of the players that he says, then it's absolutely pointless. Let's take some of your comments. Paul says, I feel it doesn't matter how many or who we sign. Moyes' tactics will tank. Re-sign Tony Cottee. Frema, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Paul says, there we go. Moyes' tactics and style of play will take us down. Well, hopefully not that. We don't have those sort of negative thoughts before the season starts, but I am concerned, I won't lie. I'm concerned with the current situation. How is Conor Gallagher priced at 50 million? Unbelievable. Yeah. I think we put a bid in for Conor Gallagher, and nothing seems to. We've all got our perceptions of what we pay for players, and you don't know, I don't know how much money is available to West Ham this summer. Only a select few know exactly how much money is available at Moyes and whoever's disposal to spend this summer. And it's all well and good.
Player, Jake. I think he's a good player, Gallagher. Gallagher's a very good player.
Yeah.
Might come to us.
No, but I think people are going, oh yeah, I'd pay X amount of money for a player. As long as we sign these players, it's not my money. To be honest, I don't care. If we sign these players, I don't care how much we pay. But as long as we've got enough money to sign an adequate amount of players, as long as we sign a couple of midfielders, a striker, and maybe a fullback just to bolster things up. If we can sign those players by September the 1st at 11 o'clock, I'll be happy. But come the end of the transfer window, September the 1st, I think we played five games of the season by then. And those 5 games are very difficult. And people haven't really looked at Nigel. After Bournemouth, we've got Brighton. Well, we ain't going to win that. Luton in their first home game in the Premier League ever, if they get their stadium up and running. Then we've got City, Chelsea, Liverpool, all in August and September. It's not looking.
And what if here's the thing, Jake? What if we get injuries?
Exactly.
We're letting all the players, we're letting all young geezers go out on loan.
Yeah.
Potts and all that. Now they go on loan. Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen when 3 or 4 other players get injured in the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. And we haven't really been dealt that. And I think we've been relatively fortunate with injuries to an extent. I mean, a couple of players have had long injuries, but what if in opening game, Souček pulls up and our other midfielder maybe pulls up, 2 injuries, then we've let Potts go. Who else are we going to have? It's worrying me. It is
Tell you
worrying me.
what, the way we're playing at the moment, I'll get my boots and go up there.
Yeah, I'll come with you. Right, let's have a look here. Terry says, okay, JC, do you have any exciting cruise based news to tell us? Well, you know, I'm not the most expansive eater. You know, I'll eat most things, but on the cruise, I like to eat the stuff I like, and we had one moment where I had to pick something that I wouldn't usually have. So usually for breakfast, right, I have scrambled egg on toast, easy, simple, done as you like. But I thought I'd jazz things up a bit to impress everybody. So I had eggs Benedict, which I've never had before, and scrambled egg as well. Eggs Benedict, I'll tell you what, it was quite nice. It was quite nice. You know, the egg.
It got hollandaise sauce on it.
It did, yeah. The poached egg was runny. It was really nice, and it was a new and very enjoyable experience, which impressed the follow guests who had to sit there and watch me scrambled egg on toast for the whole week. And yesterday I thought, no, I'm gonna have poached egg, whatever it is, eggs Benedict. So yeah, that's the exciting news for the cruise. Anyway, right, let's get back to more important matters. You can hear the excuses now from Moyes. We're getting a few Premier League experienced players, but they need time. We're going to sign all these players the day before the opening day of the season, but they need 3 weeks to bed in and to be up to full fitness. So Nigel, you know, that's how these things work.
We get experienced Premier League players that need to bed into the Premiership. They've been playing there anyway.
It will still happen now. It will still happen. They won't be up to full fitness.
There'll be some sort of excuse, isn't there?
Yeah. We'll sign McTominay and Maguire, but they won't be up to full fitness till September.
Please no, not McTominay. We'll end up giving 50 million quid for him or something, and the Man United fans will be laughing their heads off. So you know what though? I'm in the Maguire club. I actually, although he's prone to a few mistakes, right? The thing is with Maguire now, when he makes a mistake, everyone jumps on it. Yep. Kieran made a few mistakes today. Nobody's checked. Do you know what I mean? When Maguire makes a mistake, he's a high-profile player, so it gets. Do you know what I mean? It gets noticed more. But if you notice when he's played against us, he's played very well, and he's an England international, who's one of the first choices. So he ain't crap, is he? Yeah. He's got to be half a decent player. I don't think he's as good as. I think Aguerd and Zuma, you're going to have a job to push them out of the team. To be fair, but you know, why wouldn't you have Harry Maguire? The centre back situation last season was, you know, a couple of times a bit iffy when it got injuries and stuff. So why not? You know, Zuma's prone to injury. Maguire would be the ideal person to step in.
Exactly, Zuma's very prone to injury, and you know, with question marks over some players, and you know, we don't have too much depth in that centre back area either, and I think it sort of beds into the full backs as well. We've heard of Creswell maybe going to Wolves, you know, more of a sort of Dawson situation, wanting to move up nearer his family, and he's a little bit unhappy. We've heard as well, so you know, there could still be a couple more players that could leave the club and injuries. And, you know, we need at least 2 players in each position, and we need to sign a centre. We need to sign a centre half, a fullback, a couple of midfielders, a striker, all before the 12th of July, all before the 12th of August. I'm sorry, it's not happening. And I'm just, I'm fearful. It's as if the rumours are behind the scenes squabbling between Moyes and Steiden could have some truth behind them. What happened about Alvarez from Ajax? Exactly. And there's the Borges, who I talked about and who we thought the deal was done before I went on the cruise. I went on a flipping cruise for a week, and this Borges deal still isn't done. What's going on there? Why do these things all but seem done? But then we're still sat here waiting for, you know, more confirmation, more news. It just seems like we're very casual and we're very slow and we're not really rushing about this, which is worrying, Nigel.
Yeah, it's worrying. There's just no. Every time I look at my feed on Twitter or on Instagram, it goes, Borges should be signed today, and he ain't signed. It's like I say, it's been going on a week now, you know, and it probably won't end up happening. No. It's going to be some last minute signing, someone who's going to come in, who's an aging Premier League player, who's decent in his day, who's going to be offered ridiculous wages, upset the rest of the team. Yeah, that's what you can see happening.
Yeah, for sure. I think Kent's hit the nail on the head. I think we need 4 players without selling anyone. Exactly, we need 4 players, and then if we sell players, we're going to need 5, 6. And I don't think we'll sign them. I don't think we'll sign more than 2 players. I'm going to stick my head out. If we sign more than 2 players, I will be shocked, to be honest with you. And 2 decent players, not not crap players. If we sign 2 quality players, then I think that'll be as far as we go, and that's what I think. We'll come on to today's pre-season friendly. Then we did lose to Rennes 3-1 in the end. Our goal came from Thomas Souček, and yes, you did guess right, it was from a set piece. A free kick was whipped in, sort of flick-on header that went into the far corner, bottom right-hand corner. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch the game. I was watching the cricket. Nigel, I think you did watch it. Give us a short, sharp summary of today's defeat.
Started sort of slowly as normal, like we normally do. Conceded an early goal, but was a good goal. I mean, but I think, Areola should have been. He's a bit unsighted for that, I think, but it was a cracking strike. Then we sort of found our feet, got into the game. Obviously, then we scored the goal later on, and we was looking all right. I thought we're going to win this. We're looking all right, and then Moyes just changed it all. But look, hey, it's a friendly. I'd have been really, really cheesed off if that had been a league game or a game where we needed the points. But it was a friendly. But it showed how poor our midfield will be once Paqueta's off. It went to pieces. Our centre backs, when Oggy came on and Kira looked he looked awful. He went back to the Kira of the beginning of last season where he was just dreadful. And no, but it was, it was like that. And the forward, I mean, we was non-existent up front. Scamacca, it was like he weren't. It was like he weren't. You might as well have not had him there. When he come on, I think I seen him do one thing, and that was it. And this is a player that has scored so many goals in the Italian league, but they come to us, they can't even get an attempt on goal. That's how bad it is. It's not like about missing. It's about Ings has 2 chances. He's got terrible touch. Yeah. Mobama, I really like the kid, but he's going to need service if he's going to get anywhere. And, our fault, we've got nothing up front. Absolutely zero. And not saying the midfield just fell apart. It was zero midfield. They was just passing like all teams do, straight through the middle of us. And we could have ended up losing that by 4 or 5 easily. They were so much technically better than us with the ball. They just whipping it about. And yeah. And I like Red anyway. I used to go there, so I wasn't too upset that they beat us.
I think there are some positives there. I think Paqueta's the main sort of positive that people would taken out of it, and it also reverses into a worry as well. That, as you said, many people have said that when Paqueta came off, as you said, it just completely fell to pieces, which is worrying because we all knew now that Rice has gone. We had to, we've got to sort of try and build a midfield around Paqueta because he's head and shoulders above any other midfielder we've got there. That's the bottom line. Any other player in the whole squad. So we've got to try and build it around that. And there are still gaps there, and it seems like the ever-present issue of the striker remains. Danny Ings has gone and had his hair done. He spent a week's wages on doing his hair, and it quite clearly hasn't helped too much. And can't play Danny Ings up front on his own. For goodness sake, we cannot play Danny Ings up front on his own, because it will just, I think we will all fall asleep. And Scamacca, does he want to be there? I guess not, to be honest with you. And those are more concerns there with Antonio maybe on his way out. That's another player that we're going to have to replace before strengthening the squad. So we are making our lives very, very difficult for ourselves. And Terry wishes he watched the cricket, which is not a mean feat for Terry, because he does not like cricket and he watched the game. I opted for the cricket, and I'm pretty glad I did now, to be honest with you. But today's game was like Everton away last year. I do not need reminders of that day. I do not need reminders of that day. But yeah, so the fan base seems pretty flat, and I think they've got a valid reason to be honest, Nigel.
Definitely. I mean, all these pre-season games, I don't think we should worry too much about pre-season because that's what they are. Pre-season, they're a run out for the players. It's what happens on the. I'll be just going to wait to the first game of the season and see if we turn up on the first game of the season, because, like I say, friendlies are friendlies. That's what they are. You don't see anyone really, giving their 1,000%, do you, in the tackles in a friendly? Not going to happen. So that's all it is. We've done it last season. We played played friendly against Cambridge, which we won, but we was awful. It was like watching Sunday League teams. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then you're watching the same players that are playing in the Premier League week in week out, but it's not the same. So I think we just got to wait.
Sometimes it is fair that you don't get the representation of a team that's coming together from a friendly, and I think the test will be, and we've got to turn up on the 12th of August at Bournemouth, because they are going to be up front. They've got this new manager in. They've signed a few players, and if we don't start well down there, as I said earlier, Nigel, I had a little look earlier at the games we've got after that. I'll try and find them now. It's not good reading after that. So it's pivotal that we do the opposite to what we did last season, and we go out and we put some points on the board in the first game. We've got Bournemouth away on the opening day, then Chelsea, Brighton, Luton, and potentially their first home game in the Premier League ever. Then Man City, then Liverpool.
There's some tough games there. I mean, Luton, it's the sort of thing that happens, isn't it? They always these teams that come up, they always start well. Like last year, that game we went up to Forest, and we got beat, and that was dreadful. It was awful, and I could see that happening again, and it really put us on the back foot for the rest of the season. Those early defeats. So you need to get. I think the most important thing is to get points on the table. If we could win, if we could, beat Bournemouth, beat Luton, maybe get a point from Chelsea. But who knows? You never know which West Ham's going to turn up from week to week, do you?
Exactly. And it's crazy that we're sitting here nervous about going down to Bournemouth for the opening day, saying that's a 6-pointer, because I don't see where points are coming from after that. It's absolutely massive that we start well. Our first 6 games are horrendous. 4 away, 2 at home, including Luton away, Brighton away, Bournemouth away. Exactly. We need to start well in that first game, because points, I think they'll dry up in a period now when we go into Chelsea, who will have a point to prove. Brighton, which I think we'll all just resound to know that we're not going to win.
I'm not going, Jake. I'm not going to Brighton. I've decided. No, do you know what? I go to every single game, right? Home and away. To all European games. There's a few games I'm not going to this season. Brighton away is one of them, because I can't stand just getting beat by them all the time, right? And I just can't, honestly. So I'm going to the Isle of Wight that weekend. Right, so I'll have 2 tickets now. Just saying. And Palace away.
Palace.
I hate the place. You can't see anything. You're crammed in. You can't see the game, and we play crap against them. And I've said to myself, do you know what? There are 2 games I ain't going to this season. 2 games. I'm not doing it. So if anyone wants tickets for them, I'll have them, because I'm not going.
I tell you what,
you heard that here as well.
I absolutely do not blame you. We'll be going down in hope, but yes, I don't blame you whatsoever. But we need to start well. We are 14 days away, and hopefully in those 14 days before the Premier League season starts, we will have some players through the door. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to West Ham Official if you're new. The season's cropped up quite quickly, to be honest with you. I was ready for a nice big break between the season ending and the season's kicking off again, but it's just flown by, and we're back again worrying about it before it's even started. Hey ho, thanks for watching. Nigel, any thoughts before we go?
Not really, but I will say I've got this for you, and I've been meaning to post it for you. It's this, which is it's one of the flags. Because what I did was, obviously, a lot of people left the flags.
Yeah.
So I just went around. So after the game, I just went around picking them up. I had about 6.
Oh, brilliant!
So I thought, well, why not? They're actually from.
Yeah.
They're actually from the final.
Yeah.
So they're just a nice thing to have, haven't they? So I did get you one, but last time I still got to send it to you.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, Nigel. That's greatly appreciated.
You go in your little man cave you got going.
Exactly, it can. I'll have to put it somewhere here. It will be good. Maybe it just needs to cover up this here. Maybe it should just cover.
I'm going to cover up this. This will be going cheap soon.
Yeah, on eBay.
Another 41 shirt. If he starts
Plug
talking
it on
any more
eBay.
crap about us, mate, that's coming down.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Well, we'll be playing Millwall next season in the FA Cup third round. In the FA Cup third round, Millwall. That's when we'll play. That's when we'll be playing. But opening day of the season, champions of Europe. We know what we are. The pride we're going to take in milking and singing that all season, Nigel.
Oh, mate, that's going to be worn out. That somebody. Do you know what I mean? Got to dine out on it, haven't you? Really?
Teams are going to hate us because we're going to go absolutely everywhere and sing it. Absolutely everywhere. It's going to be brilliant.
I mean, did you know? I actually I said to my mates, I said, like, I'd never seen us win a European trophy. 1965 was the last time European trophy was won. So in my lifetime, I'm 55. I'd never seen us win one. So I said, if we win it, I'll get the trophy tattooed on my head. So I did. Look.
Can we still see it? Oh, the light's a bit bad. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
I got it done. So.
I respect it. I do. I respect it. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for watching from me and Nigel, as it says on the back of his head. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
See you soon. Right here. Oh, wow.
See you later.
Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.